Word purpose is something that's really been resonating with me between our conversations today and yesterday and the ones we're going to have today. And the one thing I realized in listening to these conversations and these stories is how important it really is to have a clear purpose in your life. And whether you show up to work, you show up for your family, or you show up with yourself, the challenge I ask you all is, what is your purpose? How clear is it for you? Because there are going to be mornings where you wake up where you don't feel like waking up. There are going to be mornings where you have to wake up where you didn't get enough sleep. There are going to be mornings that you have to wake up where everything did not go as planned, and everything you worked for, no matter the fact that you did the right thing, every step of the way is going to get destroyed. And if you don't have purpose, I feel you don't have hope. So the reason that we've shared these stories with you is to help show you that, look, if another person can do it, you can do it too. So listen through those filters. How did this person do it? What was their purpose? And how can you use what you're listening to drive you? There should be nothing in any of these conversations that should make you feel nothing but inspired. If you cry, you cry. That's fine. I can understand that. But it should hit home with you, because as we move forward, remember, everything we're doing here is like literally strategically building our business, right? I wanted to make sure that we built a foundation. Can people not hear me, Brooke? You good?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that everyone can build a solid foundation and that they have something to build off of. We're all in real estate, so this analogy will go very well for us. If you don't have a foundation, the house will eventually collapse. And the reality is most agents don't have a foundation for their business. They have a skill that they do every single day. So the key word here is strategy, is what we're giving you through application. And the most important thing I wanted all of us to get out of this week is sit in a room, meditate, quiet, listen to music, drink wine, whatever you like to do to get in that groove, and ask yourself, what is your purpose? So where is Jess Sigmund? Brooke, have you found her?
Morning.
Hello, good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. The blind guy just showed up, but otherwise I'm doing great.
Well, you're living your dream. So I'll give you a quick synopsis. So I actually met Jess probably in 2018 when I was doing what I thought was my last real estate transaction ever. She was actually representing the buyer on the other side. And, when I started working at Compass, she reached out to me through Instagram. I was like, hey, I really like what you're doing. Can you meet me for coffee? And little did I know that coffee would turn into this wonderful friendship. And Jess is one of my best friends in my human life, and someone I've watched grow in both her professional and personal life immensely. And a lot of times people will look at Jess and they don't realize that, one, she's, I would say, probably the hardest working human that I know. Number two, they think because she's smart and beautiful that things just happen for her, but she probably has the most challenging upbringing and had to fight for what she had to get here more than anyone I've ever met. And she's been kind enough to share this story, as it might bring tears to some of your eyes, might bring tears to her eyes. I told her I didn't know if I was going to cry today or not. But look, I wanted her to share this with you because it just really shows that if you have a human spirit and you believe in yourself, really what can happen. So, Jess, just kind of introduce yourself, tell them where you work, and one fun fact about you that they couldn't find if they look you up on the internet.
You didn't say fun fact when we prepped for this. You said fact.
Okay, you could say fact. It doesn't have to be a fun fact.
Okay, good. You're messing me all up. I'm Jess Sigmund. I work in Westchester, Rockland County, and Fairfield County. I have a team of 8 of us who cover all those different areas. I don't work in all of them, but I grew up in Greenwich, went to college in Boca Raton, Florida, and lived a little bit all over. And now I'm back setting my roots in Portchester, New York.
So what's your one fun fact? What's your one fact? I would say fun fact.
My one fact. Well, when we talked about it yesterday, we kind of went right into like talking about the story and all that stuff. So the one fact that your question was, what can't you find on Google about you? And I was thinking, like, what could it be? And the most important or relevant fact I thought to kind of jump the call off was that I grew up in a group home, and most people don't know that. So that was the one fact about me that you couldn't Google.
So, and what's interesting is that, and I'll put that in people's mind to start and just go through some numbers, right? When you came to Compass, where did you start? And then we'll jump into your story.
So when I came to Compass, I did 12 million in sales. I was working on a team at Houlihan Lawrence. It's another brokerage. Then last year, my team and I did 60 million. And this year we're right now on track at 52 million.
I'm so happy. When Jess got to Compass, it was really funny. I remember sitting in the office in Dobbs Ferry, in that back left-hand office, like, you have to put all your numbers on a sheet. And I remember you telling me, like, I'm not going to do this. And now when we went through the numbers yesterday, you had a sheet and everything's dialed in. And it went from you to a team of 8 people. And this is really from like 2019 till now, right? So it's like a lot of growth in a short amount of time. But I think the way that you approach business is, and what you've taken from like kind of your challenges and turned them into strengths, is really what makes you great. So let's start in the beginning, right? So how did this all start out from you? And we'll kind of collapse time in the next 25 minutes to where you are today.
So started off that I think my parents had a lot of struggles growing up for their own self. And then when parenting me was just a tough situation for them. My dad was a heroin addict. My mom had a lot of mental illness, and unfortunately her parents had a lot of struggles. So then I come along and just this young girl trying to like survive. My sister's mentally retarded. So being that my mom was a drug addict and mental illness, my dad was a drug addict, I pretty much from a really young age started to take care of my sister. So that's really what helped kind of, I guess, mold me into being like a take care of. And because I didn't really have a choice, my sister couldn't take care of herself. So we didn't really have an option, but for me to kind of play mom really, really young.
How old were you when that started?
Like as young as I can remember, since I was a little kid, pretty much. My sister's 2 years older than me. So she's 40, I'm 38. So since I was a little kid, I remember just being like, okay, my mom's just not really capable of doing it. So my sister needed help and I just stepped up.
And in the world of being a child, you really don't notice the difference because that's the only world you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And not to fault my parents. And I always like want to make sure to mention this, that my mom didn't have the roughest time either. So it wasn't like she just was like, giving up or not trying her hardest. She really was, but that was the best she could do.
And you had unfortunate circumstances with both your grandparents.
Yes. My mom's grandmother and my mom's father both committed suicide. So being that my mom was a single mom trying to raise a disabled child and me with like a husband who was out being a heroin addict, her father committed suicide, and then her grandmother committed suicide. So she just had so many struggles that it was just impossible for her to be a good parent at that point of her life.
And how old were you when you went into a group home?
I was 13. Yeah, I was 13.
And where'd your sister go?
She stayed with my mom. Unfortunately, it's much easier when you can express yourself that you need help versus my sister who's handicapped, who couldn't express herself that she needed help. And I went to Greenwich High School at the time, and they kind of noticed that I was not really going to school and I was not really, I just wasn't in a good situation. So thankfully for them, they got the state involved, and the state took guardianship away from my mom when I was pretty young.
And would you say that was a turning point in your life?
Yes, it was definitely like one of the best things that ever happened to me. I bounced around a lot for like the first couple of years when they were kind of figuring out where I was going to go. I went to foster homes and like shelters, and kind of like really went all over until they finally placed me in this house called Project Return. And that's in Westport, Connecticut. And it was an unbelievable experience. It was like you didn't have one mom, now you have 7 amazing moms. So it was really, really cool.
And for you throughout all this, like having a home or like one home has always been a big thing.
Yeah. So I didn't really ever have a home. So getting into real estate was like everything to me, because I'm helping all these people find homes, and I value homes so much, being that I didn't really ever have one. So being able to help people find their home was like kind of watching people's dreams all day long.
So it's kind of vicariously your dream would happen through other people over and over again. And that's why that now this actually just hearing it like this, if you ever talk to Jess, you're like, oh my God, it's a, like, and she'll go all the way through And I'm like, what are you doing for some of these things? And she's like, a home is so important. And now you could really understand underneath all of it why it's like that. Right. And, so you went through all of this, and it didn't, like, through your other relationships with boyfriends and other people, those weren't easy for you either.
Yeah, I think just it all stems back to childhood. The group I grew up in was a therapeutic group home. So I spent years and years with like constant therapy, constantly learning, constantly accepting, constantly understanding mental illness. So I was really well like equipped for the world after that. I got so much wisdom and support. So I think that you still always struggle when you don't have a home base, when you don't have solid parents, and no matter how independent or how hard you try, it's still a struggle. So like, I think that a lot of relationships after, I went off to college. So I went from my group home to college, which is like a group home is super strict, structured, like bars on the window, like curfew at 5, to going to Boca Raton, Florida. That was like fun and parties and clubs and freedom. So it was a really big transition for me. And I just, picked pretty bad relationships off the bat, didn't really know my self-worth and didn't really know what I wanted to be or who I wanted to be, because it just was also happening so quick. But after a couple of years, I started to figure it out that I got so lucky to have this opportunity. When the state was my guardian, they sent me to college. So I went to college for free in Boca Raton, Florida, which is unbelievable. I would have never, ever had an opportunity like that. So many blessings came out of the situations. I remember always that there's a Winston Churchill quote that's never let a good crisis go to waste. And that kind of is always my life, because it was always like crisis, opportunity, crisis, opportunity.
So you went off from Boca. So when did you get married after that? Oh, you're on mute. Oh, go ahead. You're going to mute yourself.
Okay. I got married when I was 28 to what I thought was like this picture perfect dream guy. He had a ton of money. I didn't have to worry so much anymore. He was like everything I thought I dreamed of in life. We moved to Toronto, Canada, 6 months after we met and got engaged. And I moved there and realized that like I hated that life. Like it was not all as I thought it was, but coming from somebody that didn't have any money growing up, it didn't have any support, it all looked so dreamy. But when I got there, it was like my worst nightmare. I didn't have any purpose. I didn't work. Nothing was fulfilling. And he was pretty controlling. And it was just like a really big wake up call that like, I didn't want that lifestyle. I wanted to work hard. I wanted to give back. I wanted to help people. I wanted to have a purpose in life.
So you lived that. So if anyone wants to know what that noise is, that's her dog.
Sorry.
If you've ever followed her Instagram, Judge. So you went. Okay.
Great. I also just moved into a house, so we're still very much adapting. It's a lot for him too, so he's got a whole lot of stuff going on. So sorry for the distraction, but my son's getting adjusted.
So you're living this life of married to a multimillionaire, which you thought was what you wanted. You realized it wasn't. So what'd you do? A lot of people stay in those situations for an extreme amount of time, very unhappy. But you have like severe ADD, I know, and make decisions quickly. So how long did you actually stay in this?
Well, I really learned over the years that there's like this fight or flight thing that I had. And I was always like the flight person, where I was like, oh, this is hard. Like, I'm just going to move on. So I really, really tried in my marriage. I really tried to stay. I really tried to go to therapy. I really tried to do every single thing I could to make it work. And I just realized that we were just such different people, and he wasn't a bad guy, and he didn't do, I still probably make a lot of excuses for him still, but I just woke up one day and he had done something that I really didn't like. And I just packed my backpack and took a flight back to New York and never really looked back. And I think like 6 months later, he sent back like all my boxes, and that was kind of the end of it. But I stuck it out. I did do it dramatic and kind of fast, but I tried really hard to make it work.
So you left with nothing though.
Yeah, I left with a backpack. He turned off all my credit cards. I didn't have any money. I went from this like crazy lifestyle to like living in my my aunt's basement on like a twin size bed and working for like $12 an hour. It was a pretty dramatic shift too. And I loved it and I embraced it. And I was so happy. I didn't need any money. I didn't need anything from him, but it was another crisis, another one of my crises.
So what did you do?
I got a job really right away, like probably a week after I got back. I started working for my aunt, managing her buildings and doing property management. She let me stay there and I just started working. And then I didn't have a car or anything. So I started walking to real estate school every day. And Judge, stop, bud. So I started walking to real estate school. I passed my real estate test and I got into real estate. And here we are.
And now we can give them your fun fact. Yeah, it is a lot of grit.
Yeah. So
your fun fact is, what did you do with your wedding ring?
My wedding ring. You love this story. So I had it and I felt like it was kind of like that one piece left of me that was still holding on to my past. So I was sitting at a bar on Greenwich Avenue and started talking to someone next to me and they were like, looking for a ring. So I was like, well, I have a ring. And so the lady bought it for me at the bar. I ran home, got it. She offered me like, I didn't even care, honestly. And I just wanted it to be kind of in my past. And I just sold it at a bar on Greenwich Avenue. And that was the end of that.
And you just move forward, clean slate.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't regret that either. I don't regret that either. It was definitely something I needed to let go of.
So now you have this clean slate. Now we're at like the part of your real estate, right? So you got your license, you started working with your aunt, and that's really where you found, you always, I guess, had this passion for home. So what was your mindset getting into real estate, right? And like the one thing that I always said about Jess is, and people ask, like, as a coaching company, people always ask, how do people grow like this? And I can look at her and I can say the simplest thing. She valued experience over money. And tell them about that as you started and kind of what your mindset was.
Yeah, so I just wanted to learn from people that I admired and people that I looked up to. And at that point, I didn't really need much. I had 2 jobs by then. I was bartending like 6 nights a week and then doing real estate and then doing property management. So I had enough money to get by. And so I reached out to people that I sort of idolized in the industry. There's Heather Harrison, Brian Milton, and I just asked them like, how can I help? You know, can I do your open houses? Can I show for you? Can I come with you? And for a good, like, I would say year, I just followed them around and just learned every single thing I can from people who I just truly idolized. And they taught me so much valuable stuff. And I was always so thankful to be around them and to look up to them and be like, this is amazing how you guys are so successful and, you know, you're helping, you know, change people's lives. And it was incredible. And I still, to this day, like any opportunity I get to be around or do a deal with the Heather Harrisons of the world, someone who I just love as a person and as a leader, I take full advantage. I'm just like so excited to be on a deal with her or to learn from her or to tour with her. So constantly still doing that.
So let's dig into this a little more, right? Because there are a lot of people I've known that have started and that they need experience and they need money, right? And a lot of times the common thing is, and I hear this from people, it's, well, I have experience to give them, but they want money, right? And how'd that trade-off work for you? Because some people want to get paid to learn versus just learning to grow, right? So if you write that down, everybody, you can either get paid to learn or learn to grow. It's 2 very different things. I find that the way people show up to help somebody else, whether they're paying them to learn or just, you know, they're learning to grow, is very different. So how are those relationships with you? And did you ever ask for money? Did they offer you money? Did you omit money? What'd you do?
No, I think after so many months, Brian threw me like a huge bone and gave me like a lead. He couldn't take it out, or he was on the sell side and it was a buyer. It was like a $4 million house. And he asked me if I wanted to do it. It was like maybe 9 a.m. The showing was like at 11. I was of course like, yes, I'll do it. And the client really took a liking to me. And he was like, look, he like, seems like he wants to work with you. So take it. And that was like, you know, after months and months of putting my time and effort into it, I got this deal. So he, you know, gave me an opportunity. I didn't need to get paid for the little jobs. I didn't need to do any of that because he gave me a huge opportunity and I was able to run with it. So that paid off.
So what was your biggest learnings in doing this, right? Like as you worked with some of these top agents in your marketplace, what were some of your learnings that you felt that you learned shadowing them versus like kind of collapsing time on your own?
My learnings. So I think that I just like I wanted to learn, and I wanted to figure out who I wanted to be like, and I wanted to figure out who I didn't want to be like. And I wanted to take all the qualities from each, person that I was looking up to and kind of put them all together and become myself, and I wanted to embrace like being sort of who I am and not, when I first got into real estate, I was on a very strict team, kind of followed the course of like my semi-abusive relationships, and they were a little bit narcissistic, and it kind of just like always stemmed back to that. And I was able to and when I got away from them, I realized I just wanted to be myself. I wanted to dress like myself. I wanted to talk like myself. I wanted to use my social media to be who I am. So I think that that's kind of what helped me, is that I took a little piece of everybody, and got so much knowledge from these people, thankfully.
So now we'll fast forward now towards where we are today, right? So a lot of your business comes from people, right? You're a heavy networker, but you also network with a lot of Compass agents. So in getting referrals and growing this, right? Because you've been here pretty much as long as I have. So I guess this would almost be your fourth year. So in doing this, what are the successful things you could share with other people about building an agent network?
Well, first of all, my business is 70% Compass referrals. That's not like 50%, not like 30%, it's 70% Compass referrals. So because of this community and the 171 people on this call, I've been able to succeed. So like, I'm so thankful for this company. I'm so thankful for all my colleagues. I have met some of the most incredible people. Like when we talk about family and me not having the best family, I have a huge family. I have a Compass family. So I've built relationships, and people have trusted me with their referrals, and it's been really, really, really incredible for me. So, I mean, I do everything I can to maintain the relationships, to be honest, to work as hard as I can. Every time I get an opportunity, I cherish it like as much as possible, because like I wouldn't have that opportunity without the agent that's sending it over to me. This is a huge network, and I tell my team members, use it, and it's like so much better than buying a Zillow lead, or so much better than any other like lead generation you can do. You have biggest fans right here that will one day have an opportunity for you, or you'll one day have an opportunity for them.
I think caring, right, as Rory always says, is a competitive advantage, and clearly you do care. So for people here that want to know, like, where do they get started doing this, right? Because me, I'm a big 0 to 1 guy, and how do they actually do it? So if you're sitting here, Jess, and you're like, wow, she has 70% referrals, like, what would you tell people to do next? Like, very specific actions.
Reach out, be on social media, like people's Instagrams, say happy birthday and comment on them, engage with them, like really care, like I try to like really be a part. People are, I'm really bad at like CRM and all that kind of stuff, but like my Facebook or my Instagram is sort of my CRM. I know whose baby's it's baby's birthday, or who just got a dog, or who just got a big deal. Like I really try to make sure that I'm involved with all that, and I'm congratulating people, and I'm listening if they need help, or if anybody ever messages me like, how did you do it? Or I'm always trying to like offer anything I can, like people offered me. So that's definitely, I always try to give back, because so many people gave me, and I would not be here if it wasn't for you meeting me at the coffee shop that day, or so many opportunities that you have given me, 100,000,000%, and then everybody else on the call are in Compass.
It is true, though. If you follow anyone in mutual with Jess, you'll see that she literally comments on everything.
Yeah, I tried it, and I want to know, what they're doing. I want to know what cool deal they just got, or what vacation they're on. Like I'm so happy for them.
So look, it's be interested in other people, right? I think a lot of her story is being interested in other people. It's caring, it's being a student first, it's having grit, and it's having a big picture mindset. if you've noticed one thing you all can pick apart from her story is nothing she did was really transactional. Every opportunity she chased was always for a bigger picture, right? When she left her marriage, it was for a dream that she was chasing. When she meets agents with relationships, she's not looking for anything. She's just looking for a relationship. Yeah, never a victim, right?
Yeah.
There's not. And I think one thing I want to share with everyone too is you still have a relationship.
Sorry. My there's a rule in the house that no one leave when they come in. He's crazy. My dog has this thing where he when you come over, you can't leave. Like you're stuck. So like if anyone goes near the door to try to leave, he's like, no way. I think he just like wants everybody to be here all the time. What was your question?
I said you have a relationship still with both your parents today.
I don't have a relationship with my mom. But my mom is like the kindest person in the world, even though she unfortunately lacks at being a mother. So like I took all of her kindness that she had. And I believe that I'm like a kind person because of my mom. So like I took qualities from her and learned from her. And like she comes and goes in my life I haven't heard from her in like 6 years, but she comes back and eventually she will come back. So hopefully we'll build our relationship again when she gets back. But my dad is my best friend. He's been sober for 20-ish years. We are super, super close. When I moved to Florida, I sort of helped him build his life back up while trying to go to college, and he got his life together, and we are just like inseparable now. I talk to him 100 times a day. He is my best friend. He's my biggest supporter. And I learned so much from his issues, so I didn't like, it's okay. Life's not always perfect and it's not always easy. So I proud of my dad.
And if stories don't end with happy endings, Jess just bought her first house and she has a white fenced-in yard for her crazy dog, Judd. So, congratulations on having a home. And, from the whole time I've known her, her whole goal was all I want to do is buy a house with a yard for my dog because you're always in apartments. And it's very exciting to watch this all happen for you. And look, continue being yourself. Thank you for sharing this with everybody. I know this is not easy stuff for people to talk about. It's not stuff like you talk about often. So I appreciate you for being you and just kind of putting all this good nature into the world.
I appreciate you too. And everyone on this call. I think that we're just really lucky to have the opportunity to be successful while helping and changing people's lives. And like, if we can, do it right and do it honest, like the opportunities are endless.
Yeah. And Jess will put her email in the chat. If you want to reach out to her, she actually will write every single person back. And look, thank you all. This was a different, pace for us and something we wanted to share with you because look, in the end, when this is all done, your day's going to happen and tomorrow morning's going to happen. And you're going to have choices. You're going to have choices to follow the time blocks in your calendar. You're going to have choices to reach out and make meaningful connections to other agents and your clients and people in your life. And you're also going to have a never-ending stream of excuses because that's how our brain works. So I hope these stories that we've shared with you inspire you to go find your own greatness. Because if she can live through this, let's look at the context of where some of us are today. It's probably not that bad. Right. And even if it is bad, you can see some of the messages that Thomas shared with me yesterday, that other people shared with him, that there are other people out there in the same situation. There are people probably out in Jess's situation right now in unhappy situations that need to make tough choices. So I applaud you for doing that.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up. It's always gets better.
So what is your parting words for everybody besides the fact that your dog's crazy?
Gosh, of course I got a crazy dog, but he's got a beautiful heart. He's just completely crazy. What is my, it's like the simple, just like be a good person and good things happen. I truly believe that like every time I had two options to like make the easy choice or make the right choice, like the right choice always brought me so much more. So do good for people and it all comes back. That's all.
And as your doormat says, be a good person.
Always be a good person. Yes.
Yep. All right, everybody. As always, with love in my heart, I love you all. If you want to tune back in, we'll have this again at 12:30. And next week we'll be back to our training calendar. So thank you, Jess, and drop your email in the chat. Brooke, let them give her a chance to put this in the chat before we close the Zoom down. So Jess, put your email in the chat.
Oh. I don't know how to do it.
All right, I'll do it for you.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Thank you everybody so much.
No, I don't need your guys' emails. I'm gonna give you Jessica's email. That's funny. You know, I always got you. All right. Oh, Luke wrote it too, so some of our team members are here. We'll see Jaliska at the 12:30 session. I know she always comes on then. All right, bye everybody.